All right, today we're going to talk about someone whose life was just as wild and revolutionary as his poetry, Lord Byron. We're going to explore how he didn't just write poems. He basically created a cultural phenomenon that, believe it or not, is still with us today. So let's dive into the story of literature's original rock star.
Seriously, forget everything you think you know about 19th century poets being all stuffy and boring. This guy, George Gordon Byron, we're talking 1788 to 1824. He was the definition of a superstar. He was famous, he was a rebel, and he was wrapped up in enough scandal to make today's tabloids look tame. His entire life was just this whirlwind of controversy and charisma.
And yeah, this quote, it absolutely nails it. See, his life wasn't just some background noise for his work, it was his work. His chaotic personal life, his strong political views, his passion, all of that was the fuel for his poetry, and it created this magnetic pull that the public just couldn't resist. He was a true icon of the Romantic era for sure.
But okay, beyond all the fame and the drama, Byron's real revolution was on the page. He didn't just capture the spirit of his time. He actually invented a whole new kind of protagonist, a totally new way of looking at what a hero could be. And this is where his story gets super interesting.
He created something that would literally echo through literature and film for the next 200 years, the Byronic Hero. This wasn't just some character type, it was a game-changing archetype that fundamentally altered storytelling forever.
So, what exactly is a Byronic hero? Well, basically, think of a character who's moody, magnetic, and just deeply conflicted. This hero is an outsider, totally wrestling with a dark past and completely at odds with society. And here's the kicker. This wasn't just some character he dreamed up. It was pretty much semi-autobiographical, a kind of mirror, reflecting Byron's own battles with fame, with his identity, and with his own personal demons.
To really get this hero, you gotta see him in action, right? So let's take a look at the works, where Byron first unleashed this powerful new character on the world, starting with the poem that made him an overnight sensation.
This is the one, Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. When the first parts of this came out in 1812, Byron himself famously said he awoke one morning and found himself famous. No joke. This was the moment the world met the very first, the quintessential Byronic hero. So the poem is all about this guy Harold. He's a young nobleman who's just completely bored with his fancy, pleasure-seeking life. So what does he do? He takes off across Europe. But this isn't just some sightseeing trip, it's a journey into his own head. He's not a conqueror, he's a wanderer, looking for meaning. He's filled with this deep sense of disillusionment, and while the beauty of nature moves him, it also just makes him feel even more alone. This was a hero nobody had ever really seen before.
So after he lays that foundation, Byron takes this hero and just throws him into a much darker, almost supernatural world with his next big work, Manfred. This is like the Byronic hero turned up to 11. We're talking full-on gothic drama here. Okay, so let's break down Manfred's whole deal. He's this nobleman living up in the Alps, and he is totally haunted by some terrible secret guilt from his past. So he starts summoning spirits, not because he wants power, but because he wants to forget. He's trying to escape his own mind. He perfectly captures that classic romantic struggle between cold, hard logic and the incredible, overwhelming power of human feeling. So Byron perfects this brooding, tortured, charismatic hero, and then what does he do? In a move of just pure genius, he decides to completely tear it all down. He starts to subvert the very myth that he created.
And that brings us to this huge question that drives his final, and maybe his greatest, masterpiece, Don John. After creating the ultimate hero who was the master of his own fate, Byron decided to write about a character who was a complete victim of it. And this comparison just lays it all out so perfectly. On one side, you have the classic Byronic hero, intense, dark, in control. And on the other side, you've got Don Juan. Now, Byron's version of Juan isn't the legendary seducer. Nope. He's innocent, he's sensitive, and he keeps getting into trouble because people fall in love with him. He's not this powerful force of nature, he's more like a leaf getting blown around by the wind. So through all of Don Juan's totally chaotic adventures, Byron basically creates this massive satire of, well, everything. Politics, religion, war, and especially love. He uses humor and this light, funny tone to expose all the hypocrisy and absurdity of the world around him, completely flipping the script from the dark, serious vibe of his earlier work.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What does it all mean? Well, the thing is, Byron's influence didn't just stop in the 19th century. Not even close. What he created and then cleverly took apart left this massive mark on our culture that we are still feeling today.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It really puts his genius into perspective. Think about it. In just a little over a decade, the guy introduces, perfects, and then completely deconstructs one of the most lasting character types in all of literature. The speed and creative energy there is just, it's mind-blowing.
And that, right there, is his ultimate legacy. You know that character, the brooding rebel, the charming but dangerous outsider, the one with a dark past who plays by their own rules? Yeah, that guy. He never went away. He just evolved. He became the blueprint for the anti-heroes we see everywhere in our books, our TV shows, and our movies today.
Which really brings us to one last thought. From those tormented heroes to the sympathetic rogues we love now, Byron's fingerprints are all over the place. It really makes you think, doesn't it? When you look at the characters you're into today, in books or on screen, who is the Byronic hero of our time?